Okay, Mama Bird, this is where I'm gonna start you. This is actually in the small apartment in the bottom rear of the house. We call this the preacher suite. This is gonna be a 1 bedroom, and it's pretty much the same layout that I found it. All we did was change the bathroom here, how it's actually situated. That was the door there, and the tub was actually here where this chair is. So close that off and entered through a closet door that was here. We just made the closet door bigger and opened this space up. So this is the bathroom for this space. We're going with a vessel and a pump-like sink fixture. Of course, you can't stop the water. I don't want people to have the ability to overrun the sink there onto the flooring. All right, so most of the pieces that we have go back to like 1920s, 1930s. This is the kitchenette for this space. I'm waiting for my appliances to come in, and that's when we'll actually finish all the plumbing. I'm just now getting back in here. The plumber was in here last, but I had to close. I had received some donations, and that's what you see in the personal property around, like this stuff. I needed a space in my storage unit for other things, so I brought it all in here. So it's kind of mixed in there. This is the piece we got from the one of the local auction places. But this is how this space is going to set up. It is its own space. Back here, the styling of the casings different. This is a Greek revival period. This portion of the house was built in the 1830s, whereas when I take you back into the front of the house, we're going to go into the 1775 as certification. It could have been built anywhere between 1765 and 1775. And here, what's notable is that the outside walls are plaster. And the plaster, it looks like they use horse hair to be the binding agent in that plaster. This space now, we're going back into the main house. So this is pretty much the line of where the apartment starts, off of the main kitchen inside the main house. Of course, this kitchen wasn't always here. The original kitchen would have sat right in, well, that area where I'm pointing to now in the ground. There is a 12-foot diameter cellar that's 8 feet into the ground. And so the original kitchen sat in this space outside of the house. So you see my chief elf over there. She's working around there. But this is the kitchen that I inherited. And so I left the cabinetry there. Not sure why he built the cabinet. This is Charles Eubanks at this time, building the cabinetry for his wife. And from what I understand, she's maybe 5'2", but she used the space because we found her cookbooks all the way in the top cabinet there. I replaced the island that was in here. We brought in, this is the marble. Actually, to me, it looks like red granite, but or rose granite. From what I understand, there are no more veins of that in Georgia. All of the houses in South Carolina. Say hi, Ma. Hello. So we brought in this granite. Bought it out of Elberton. I believe it's out of Elberton. We have a little wet bar over on that side. That was a former pantry. This is going back into the original house now. This flooring is probably about 70 years old. But though this is now the space we're using as the dining room. I believe it was the dining room all the time. The prior family used it as a dining room. We have taken out, when I had gotten here, there was sheetrock on the walls and sheetrock on the ceiling. We found the heart pine that was behind the wall, behind the sheetrock, only because we had to repair the siding on the south side of the houses, and that's the sun pointing towards the south side of the house. Then we noticed that the interior walls still had wood on them, so we came in here and took off the sheetrock, and we start finding the original wallpaper. And we know it goes back because it is literally sitting on top of, this is a cloth strip that is sitting over the joints, and each one of these joints had that cloth strip on it. This is the way the wood looked when we took down the sheetrock, and the scraps of wallpaper were all over this spot. And we were going to prep it to put sheetrock, well, not sheetrock. We were going to prep it to put wallpaper back in here. But Dad made a suggestion that, since we were, we took a wire brush and knocked down all of the oxidized wood and the scraps of wallpaper. We just left that section there so you can see what it looked like. We had a repair here, and the deal was if we can make the repair blend into the overall wall, that we would go ahead and just use polyurethane. So we wound up using polyurethane on the heart pine, and this is the product end result that came out of that. This is an original door. This is a casing. Now this casing probably came in somewhere around the 1800s. Well, I'm sorry, 1830s when they put on those new porches. Because when we took the porch down from outside, I'm gonna video that later, we saw holes in the flooring in the seal that seemed to suggest that there was a stud there. So my thoughts is that this was a smaller window in the beginning, and when Charles Hammond, Charles Hammond's grandson, took over the house and built it out with the Greek Revival porches and added to the back side of the house, because going through that where you see the green, that is the newer part of the house, whereas where we are now is with 6 rooms, these 2 rooms on the bottom floor, this foyer or breezeway or dog trot, that is the original back door to the house there. So it was these 6 rooms. There's a room right on top of it, this space here and right above it, and the area where we're using the parlor. When we got here, this was the only space that we actually saw the wood. All right, so this is the blue room, and the wallpaper is anaglypta wallpaper. This is the wallpaper we were going to be using for the dining room. But because we left the sheetrock inside here, I just went ahead and put the wallpaper on this and use this blue. It was similar to one of the blues that would have been used in the period, maybe just a little more radiant than what would have been used, but similar hue, although it may have been just a little bit more muted. And it's causing some of my critics giving them really a lot to talk about. But we just, this is a chandelier that was in the house, the former owner had. It was actually in the dining room, and I had it polished and cleaned up and rewired, and I brought it into the parlor here. There was a smaller one that was matched that chandelier that was actually out here. But this is a piece that we got from a auction place, and it was in a private club that was downtown Augusta, and just brought it in here. It fits this space, the stairwell. One thing about the stairwell, we had to build this stairwell. We didn't know what it actually looked like. The original one had been lost, because during the 50s and 70s, Strom Thurmond's brother owned the house, and this was an apartment complex, a 4-unit apartment complex. And so they had closed in that space to make a bedroom up here. As a matter of fact, this would have been this bedroom. This space here in this room would have been apartment 4. So this is our landing, and it goes out into the porch here. So I can get this right. Right now I'm using this space to house I'm looking at the landscaper. Of course, that's Martintown Road. This is the 2 magnolia trees that are supposed to be historic, so we left those alone. And I'm always nervous when people are working around them. We restored this brick path. Some of the bricks are original, particularly the bricks are in between the 2 trees. Those are original bricks, and some we had to source to try to find to replace what had been lost. But again, that was not an approximation or a guesstimate of what it could have looked like at first. and working with some to the, because if you look at it, you can see where it's not exactly symmetric. We're working around the roots and trying not to damage the roots and putting it back in there. Again, we didn't know what it looked like. But anyway, this is the original shutters. We just had those put back on. This is looking towards south. And of course, that's east. And behind me will be north. But this is where our best guesstimate about here. This is not original detail based on the markings we saw when we had to reestablish this porch or rebuild this porch. But this is the original woodwork in here. We added this wood to protect the corners of this because this was a 1 inch thick, 18 inch wide board that's 22 feet long, and it actually made up 4 of those boxed together, made up a hollow square, and that's what actually held up the weight of this porch for the last 150, 200 years. So now we're back into that first level again. This is the original flooring. You can see where top side nail, whereas nowadays they nail inside the tongue and groove. This is one of the bedrooms upstairs. That little box up there, that's the original access to the attic. Don't know who was that small. This is now the access to the attic, and this was built before I got in here. We still use it. This is what the exterior of the house looked like when we had gotten here. This is some of the exterior wood that I brought in to there was sheetrock here, so we just use this wood as accent and also to give us an idea of how the house has changed. But that is the original outside wood in varying places. And if you look up there, you can see this is the original wood from of course, the roof line. Those are true 3x5s and really large boards. You can see how wide those boards are. That's heart pine, and they still have all of the nails, the cut nails still inside of them. So you have to be careful when you go up there. If you rub up against one of those the wrong way, you're gonna need to get a tetanus shot. Okay. We brought each of the bedrooms had their own bathroom, and so you have a shower and a toilet, and we use wood siding in here. Whenever I had to take down sheetrock, I put the wood siding, but we built this space out, so it's a shower. Of course, it wouldn't have been a bathroom inside the house during that period of time, but we, because of the spacing of the windows here, I couldn't bring this all the way across, so I had to cut it off here. But my friend over at Lookaway, they had 2 rooms that, at least one room had a vanity inside the room. I said, well, that's a great idea. And so that's why we've set this room up like this. The fireplaces will not be working, but those are original mantelpieces. There's my chief elf again. This is a mirror image of that bedroom across. This furniture has been donated to the house. This is a room that we're considering to be the kids' room, but adults can sleep in here as well. Chose a toile, black and white draperies in here. Each bedroom has access to a porch. This is what this porch is going to look like. Of course, these are not going to be here. They're going to go to downstairs, but I'm keeping them here out of the way of potential admirers that want to remove them without my permission. But there will be a seating area here, and one of the 4 TVs will be actually an outside TV in this location. We built this space. This was not here. We actually had to. This was a roof when we had gotten here. But because I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that bathroom there, but you can see the roof line that we cut into to get this here. This is course, the backside of the fireplace, we brought the granite in here and made a sitting area out of it. This is the back of the house, back upstairs area. You would come up this back staircase. In the 50s and 70s, when you had come up this back staircase through that door, there would have been a hallway right here to go to unit 4. This was the entrance here for unit 3. This is the original handrail and banister, but not the balusters. But this was encased inside of a wall, and that's how it wound up surviving. So this is the back bedroom. This was the room that the only room that had a bathroom in it. Was upstairs, and so what we did, we tore it down and built it back up and extended the ceiling higher up to tie into the ceiling of the roof, to tie the roof of the bathroom into the roof of the main house, to make it look more intentional. Use that word. But this is the only bathroom that would have a tub in it, because there was a tub when I had gotten here, so I left that one as in place. That's not the original tub. I'm saying I left the tub idea in that particular bedroom. This bathroom rather. This is the outside porch here. This is Chief L's bedroom. All right. So this is the porch that you could not come out on when we first got here. It was completely gone. It's pretty much the reason we kicked our renovation off when Hurricane Michael came through here and knocked this. It was already hanging or down, and Hurricane Michael came through and it fell down, crossed up with it and shattered. This piece of wood right here is the only remaining piece of these 4 columns back here. They all were, had pretty much deteriorated, so we wound up cutting them down and made smaller columns out on the north side of the house. But those are the original shutters back in place. As a matter of fact, it's my first time coming up here and seeing them back on the house. They had been stored in the crawl space, and we had the painter put a Charleston black on them, and they were just put up about a week and a half ago. This wood here is going to find itself into the cottage. That cottage is a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. It was the smokehouse. And you can see this box here, kind of like a window above this window. The cutout, well, that was the exhaust for it. We didn't know what it was. We had been told it was built in the 1900s, but when my carpenter took some of the siding off and we started looking at the seals, we noticed the seals looked exactly like the seals of the house. And so we called one of the historians over here to take a look at it, and he noted that you see how the edge of the roof, there is no overhang on it. It is right up against that siding, which is a characteristic of the architecture in the 1800s. So we found the soot-like material inside of it, so we were able to figure out that was the smokehouse. Okay, that's upstairs. We went back with rim locks upstairs and some areas downstairs. Where she is now, that space was not here. We put this bathroom in. So now we have, and we also had carved out some space to have a stackable washer dryer in here. So now we have 6 bathrooms, 6 bedrooms, 6 full baths. That would be the only bathroom that you had to walk out of the bedroom into. So this opening here to my right was not here originally. It's been closed off, so you just entered through this door. This is the doors that the people who were maintaining the house, that was the door that they were allowed to use. That's what I'm being told. This was not where we're standing on right now is the back porch. So we know this room was here because it has a fireplace. So they called this a keeping room, but you had to enter it from the back door here. And this is the original exterior of the house. You can see these two casings here. These were two windows. You can still see the seal of the window there. This was already opened up by the time I got here and I left it, but it would have been parallel to those two there. So we're using one of them as the backside of a chalkboard. And this is a case opening for a door. This casing was the casing for the pantry that used to be there. And we cut it down to, so I try to keep everything that has some architectural significance to the house here. This wood is original to the house. This was the interior walls upstairs that I believe the Eubanks pulled down when they first, tried to reconfigure the house from an apartment complex to a single family house. It was stored up under the crawl space, and I had it planed and cut down, and we use this as a accent wall. So again, you can see what heart pine looks like. The flooring from this point where I'm standing, the blue line, to about where this box is the original flooring to the house that was on the exterior upper porch that we were just on. Had sanded. This flooring here was reclaimed from another project. A local vendor was able to sell me this flooring. And you'll see some blues on the floor from where it was painted. Don't mind that. It just gives a little bit more character. This will be my only bathroom that's ADA compliant. I have some more hardware in there. Hopefully I'll get a wheelchair lift. This is not a commercial business. This is just a house that we're going to use for hospitality, Airbnb, VRBO type scenarios. But people, in order for people to use the cottage, we have to have some ability to, accommodate persons. And again, this is the front foyer, breezeway, dog trot. They call it a dog trot because their dogs will actually trot through. That's what one of the historians told me. These two closets here are a result of the, at the time, I believe, of the 1830s, when the house went into its Greek revival period, as far as the architecture being put onto the house, because it was a federal style 2-story pine clapboard house at the time, when the family got a little bit more wealth, and that's during Charles Hammond's grandson's era in the 1830s. He added on, so he went with the Greek revival style. But they brought the original door back into the house, and that's what wound up creating these closets here. And we've had to close a little bit in because that's where our hardware for the plumbing is coming down. But I just want to get loud because he's out there with that. This is the original wall. So this is the space that came in that makes this closet. But the original door set, because that's the seal there. So this door structure sits on a finished floor. And to tell you how well the house is built, even though this door system is sitting on finished flooring and not sitting on the structure of the seal, which has the majority of the support for exterior wall or door, there were pieces of heart pine on the porch that was original that was still stuck up under the door and attached to that seal. At the time, we didn't know what it was doing, but I thought that someone had made a repair on the porch a couple times. We know twice that it was redone before we had to redo it. And so I wanted my boards to go all the way across rather than having this arbitrary joint right there. Well, when we cut that back, the door dropped down just maybe 1/8 of an inch because we had pretty much cut off its support. We had to go back in and jack it back up that 1/4 of an inch, but all of that weight sitting on a finished floor, it only moved about 1/8 of an inch when we removed the support there. So that gives you an idea how strong the flooring is, how smart the carpenters were when they put it in there. So that's the story of the house. I'll take some video of the house a little bit later when the our landscaper guy is not making so much noise out there. We're getting prepped for the house being on the Christmas tour this year. That is a colonial era replica chandelier. So Mom and I are in here now. I'm gonna hang some pictures. I want to hang this tapestry we just received. You may have seen it earlier, scaring me, seeing it was small. This is my first time ever using a tapestry. We're going to use it in the main wall up there. And go from there. All right. We just installed the brackets for the tapestry. Oops. And my chief elf went to go get the tassels.
Make me look like a rag horses. Looking at it. And that painting, they got sunflowers on it and pumpkins. So right there, where's melon? Melons and pumpkins. So with the jackets like falling in. Pears. This pears is following here.
That's our first time hanging a tapestry.
First time I got butt in the head.
Well, you always worry about getting knocked beside your head. Chuck got you. This is the north elevation. We use this back porch here pretty much as the primary entrance. We rebuilt those staircases. We rebuilt that staircase. Waiting for another shutter going to the window here. These are the original shutters to the house. We've had them painted and reinstalled. We cut this box here when I enclosed the foundation. These are the meters when the house was an apartment complex. So I left that where people could see it. The landscaper guy, he just put the straw down. So that's the porch that we actually had to rebuild. Doing a horrible job of stabilizing my picture there. Swinging around the front, choosing my path here over the new straw. I gotta turn that light off upstairs. This is the front of the house. This faces east to Martintown Road. Now we're looking at the south elevation. It looks much larger on this side. And of course the first four, these four here, that's the original house. And when you see the chimney was at the original back of the house, the back of the original house that is, and they added on that direction. And so this is going towards the newer portion of the house. So again, that fireplace marked that way. That was the original portion. All this was the original portion, and that was added on. We had to rebuild that this staircase as well, and the front one, the east side. And now we're going to the west elevation of the house. I'm not going to put shutters on this back here. One, we don't have them. Two, they cost a fortune. Three, I think they're going to be kind of skewed up against, they're not going to lay flat because of the chimney. So this depends on how funny the money continues to be, because it is absolutely hilarious in the worst way. There's the moon. We made the door there out of the heart pine, the extra heart pine we had. So the landscaping guy, he's going to put straw up on all of the porches there. That had to be put back the way it was. I was going to do it anyway. And we built this staircase. It was originally a wood staircase that was at the original house, but this was the back porch. So, and we added that porch all together up top. In addition to making the bathroom larger, it looked just like a little dog house. So it's on the side of the house, so I tore that down and made it tie into the roof, so it wouldn't look so afterthought-ish. Okay, so we have the draperies inside now. We have the shutters on. We're pretty much done with the main house. Now I have to work on that cottage and this barn and the landscape. And that's the tour.